Does sleeping with your partner hurt your sleep quality? This has been a common question that's popping up, especially for people prioritizing and trying to biohack their sleep. As the discussion of longevity, anti-aging, sleep tracking, all of these things have reached the mainstream, people begin to look at a number of different ways to optimize their sleep. This could include their body temperature, darkness, cooling mattress pads, and some people have even gone as far as potentially opting to sleep in a different room than their partner. Now, is this based in science or just someone's personal experience and personal preference?
What's up and welcome to Sam Miller Science, where you're joining me just over a decade into my personal journey of working to bridge the gap between metabolism, macros, muscle, and medicine, all while helping coaches scale the impact that they desire and deserve. If you are here, thank you so much for listening and for trusting me to help you elevate your coaching game or to lead you in your transformation to realize your true potential. In either case, each week I'll be sharing my methods, models, and message to serve as leverage for your specific goals. Without further ado, let's get on to today's show.
Inside today's episode, I'll dive into the potential pros and cons of opting to sleep in a different bed, what the research says, and also a little bit of common sense conversation here inside today's video and podcast. So, common question is, does sleeping with your partner tend to help or hurt your sleep quality? People want to know, they want to have a deeper scientific understanding of this answer, because it may seem like if you have a partner tossing and turning, it may impact your sleep. That's pretty logical there. But there are certain components of comfort and feeling safe or feeling loved that may contribute to relaxation and someone's ability to fall into deep, restful sleep. And when we look at poor sleep, it can impact energy levels. It can impact sex hormones, can impact insulin sensitivity, cortisol levels. When we look at the monthly menstrual cycle for women, estrogen and progesterone, and potentially even thyroid health as well. We also know that sleep is important for modulating inflammation and helping to heal the gut. So this brings up an important question. What should we be doing if we're prioritizing our sex hormones, our thyroid, our inflammation, and we're just looking to max that out? Does this mean we have to go a little bit extreme in our approach? You might be surprised what the research says and how your attachment style might actually even play into whether you benefit from sleeping with your partner or maybe opting for a different space. Let's start out with a survey from the Sleep Foundation. Now understand, this is a survey, not a randomized controlled trial. What they found was 1.4% of respondents have started a sleep divorce. Now this is only 1.4%, so pretty small percentage here that have kind of parted ways at night time. This is sleeping separately from their partner and maintained it for at least a year. 52.9% of those people who started a sleep divorce claim they are sleeping better and also got an average of 37 minutes of additional sleep per night than when they shared a bed. 25.7% of adults who slept separately from their partner ended up sharing a bed again, meaning they basically left, were in a different room, came back, and now they're in the same bed again. And some people even stated they slept significantly worse without their partner, meaning they were more comfortable and potentially even fall asleep faster or got more total sleep when they were sleeping with their partner. So is this just a survey without any sort of rigorous controls and experimentation and data analysis? How might this pan out? Is this even accurate? Should we even base any decisions off of this? What does the science say if you're someone who's a little bit more into the journals and evidence base? There's a few interesting studies to talk about, including studies that look at attachment style, basically tying that attachment style of an individual and their sleep quality when sleeping together with a partner. There's also a study that addresses objective sleep quality metrics versus self-reported sleep quality. The first study to talk about is one of the more simple studies that we'll address, done in 2022. This is by Fuentes, and they simply looked at self-reported sleep quality sharing a bed with a partner, other family members, children, or pets. Now, self-reported sleep quality understands a little bit more of a qualitative indicator of sorts. Even if they do it on a rating scale, it is more of an opinion. And understand that there is a little bit of a placebo effect with many aspects of health, or essentially If you believe that it is true, then it is very likely that you will kind of play it out to be true. So for example, when people think that a supplement is working, then it has a greater chance of actually working. When people think that they're given testosterone, we'll see this in different trials and studies, where people think that they're been given an administration of something, they actually perform or respond better than if they did not think that, right? So there is a little bit of a placebo effect. Now, when we look at this self-reported sleep quality as far as their partners went, those who shared a bed with a partner most nights reported less insomnia severity, less fatigue, less sleep apnea risk, shorter sleep latency, which is a good thing. It means you fall asleep faster, and less night wake-ups. All of the other possibilities of bed sharing were the exact opposite. Those that had to share a bed with other family members, their children, or pets all reported worse insomnia, more daytime fatigue, higher latency, and more night wake-ups, as well as higher subsequent daily stress levels. We know sleep is a very important part of having that resilience during the day. So if you get that rest at night, may help you to deal with and combat life's daily stressors. The next study examined how someone's attachment style played into their sleep quality with their partner. Attachment styles are a concept in psychology that result from childhood experiences and affect how we connect in our adult relationships. In this study, women who scored higher on the secure attachment style subscale reported higher sleep quality, and women who scored higher on the avoidant attachment style subscale reported lower sleep quality. This would make sense. An avoidant attachment person is characterized by not being able to fully give their whole self to a partner in a sense, or basically avoidant as the name implies, versus a secure attachment style where someone is comfortable there with their partner. So if someone's avoidant, it might make sense that they want to sleep in a different bed. We also have studies where couples actually went into sleep labs and got objective metrics of sleep quality. In one study, the researchers analyzed the depth of relationship between couples using a large questionnaire, and then they conducted the sleep research after. In this study, couples sleeping in the same bed showed higher REM sleep, but lower slow wave sleep. Interestingly, the higher they rated the depth of relationship, the more their sleep stages synchronized with one another. Quite fascinating. Now, if we look at large review studies, which mainly put together many individual studies and they conglomerate the data, the story is a little bit different here. A 2021 review showed that objective metrics of sleep quality in terms of stages, night wake-ups, they tended to actually be significantly worse. However, when the subjects were asked about their sleep quality on average, they actually said they felt a lot better. And how you think you feel, or how you feel, is probably almost as important, if not equally as important, as the data itself, because a lot of people will kind of play that out in their daily lives, right? If they think they feel good or they feel good, well, how is that going to manifest in their day-to-day behavior, or maybe that resiliency to stress and some of these other factors? Now, in terms of actual biomarkers or biometrics, is it possible that those nighttime wake-ups, a little bit of insomnia, is that going to play into things like insulin sensitivity, etc.? Potentially possible, but if it's helping with stress and comfort and maybe other components or other benefits of a complete healthy lifestyle, then you could probably still make an argument for it. So there's a little bit of discrepancy between what we're seeing objectively and subjectively, but this seems like there could be a little bit more research done here, but some interesting studies nonetheless. So the main question you might be wondering, should you sleep separately from your partner for better sleep? And as I mentioned towards the start, this is actually going to be individual based on your personality and your relationship, as well as other things that might potentially keep you up, as well as your partner's sleep hygiene, as well as your sleep hygiene. Those are going to be, paramount considerations when thinking about something like this. For example, in some research where subjects got better sleep apart, they cited the main reasons as being too hot in bed for comfort, partner moved too much, snoring and or sleep apnea kept the other partner up. These reasons can be mitigated in a number of ways. So for example, cooling mattress pads, keeping ambient temperature lower, or opening a window during cooler months, keeping a dark room. You could use earplugs if you do have someone who tends to either snore a bit or potentially has a little bit of apnea. But mouth tape or CPAP could be another thing to consider for breathing, because nasal breathing is obviously going to be a little bit less loud or obtrusive than someone who is heavy mouth breathing during the night. So we can consider that as well. And if your partner's moving too much, well, if you're sleeping in a queen, it might be time to upgrade to that king size bed. Unless you're rocking it Step Brothers style and you build your own bunk beds, then I guess you can do it that way too. You'd technically be in the same room, but you'd have your own bed. So when we look at the science, we understand people have their own sort of subjective feelings of well-being and ratings of sleep. There are still important considerations in terms of individual sleep hygiene and couple sleep hygiene, and how being in that routine, keeping that cool, dark room, and maybe even sleep supplementation and meal timing, these are things that are gonna play into each individual's quality of sleep. Now, if you do feel more comfortable, at peace, relaxed, that's probably going to help your sleep latency. It was super interesting to see how in one of the studies ended up leading to improvements in REM sleep, but maybe some changes in slow wave sleep. But for some people, that could actually be a good thing. There are a lot of individuals, from what I've seen, especially in active populations, just in observing Oura Ring data and other types of sleep trackers, and sometimes people tend to be a little heavier on the deep sleep side compared to REM in certain client populations. And so for some individuals, maybe getting more REM could actually be a good thing or balance things out for them a little bit. So understand there's a lot of different things you can do to improve your sleep environment and optimize your individual sleep, and then your decision in terms of what you want to do and where you want to sleep and how you and your partner prefer to get your rest and recovery is ultimately going to be up to you. And I wouldn't let the research tell you otherwise. Part of it is figuring out your personal preferences and what is individually going to work best in terms of your recovery and getting the best night's sleep possible. We know that sleep's important. We don't want to turn it into this super stressful thing where I see a lot of people sometimes take some of these concepts, and I'll see videos on Instagram or I'll see written content about it, and it's really making people worry about things that maybe shouldn't be a huge cause for concern inside their transformation if they're otherwise currently successful or things are moving in the right direction. So we want to make sure that we take this in context and have the appropriate priorities and big rocks when it comes to our health, fitness, nutrition, sleep, and recovery. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider sharing the show. You can do this one-on-one with a friend or leave a 5-star rating and review. There's loads and loads and loads of hours of free content, both in the audio feed and on video on YouTube. And if you enjoy that, one way to say thank you and kind of give me that virtual fist bump and high five for my team and I is to support the show. Make sure you're subscribed, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, rating, review, or just post it on your social media. You can tag me, I'm at Sam Miller Science. This also goes a long way to share the work that I do with the world. We have a team that supports on the media side in terms of video and audio, folks that help with research, and also the time that goes into recording and reviewing this content to make sure that we are able to create these shows consistently for you on a regular basis. Podcast was started in 2019 to translate some of these complex concepts related to nutrition, physiology, hormones, biochemistry, recovery, training, movement, and lifestyle into leverage for your specific goals, because there's a lot of gray area and nuance when it comes to kind of bridging this gap between macros, metabolism, muscle, and medicine. And I want to make sure that you have the information you need and can tailor it in a way that's best suited for your goals. Or if you're a coach and you're someone who really helps others with their transformation and their lifestyle, that you can take this and actually use this in an actionable way in regular check-ins. So if this has changed your perspective at all, entertained you, educated you, maybe just helped you pass the time if you're going for a walk, doing some cardio or chores or on a drive, please support the show. It takes about 10 seconds of your time and really goes a long way to supporting my team and I. We don't inundate your feed with tons of ads or waste your time. We really get to it with these individual topics that we hope that you find interesting. We do base it off of audience questions and feedback when designing content each month. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I never take it for granted that you're spending part of your day with me. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and I will talk to you in the next show.